Hey everyone, so I'm making a video today, a slightly different topic, so not about like the keto diet or nutrition and training, but it is kind of aligned. It's more about like a mental health, I guess, journey that I suppose I've kind of been on that I'd like to talk about, and that's actually about my work situation. So I touched on it in a video last week, and I just wanted to go into details about what it was today. And actually, I've actually just come back from a 30-day unpaid leave of absence that I self-requested, and I want to talk about why I did it, how it's made me feel, would I recommend it, and if you wanted to do it, like how should you go about it? I'm just going to put the camera down a bit. So yeah, like I said, I will start from last year, sort of almost this time really. It was the end of February, March 2024. I work in HR IT, and I am basically part of a project team deploying SAP payroll. And in this role, I've been in it for just over 3 years. We've done four releases, can't even do it, four releases previously, and this was the fifth. We had a new team and a few different personalities this time round, and basically we kicked off the project in January, all seemed fine. Then February, March, there was a big disagreement with some team members. Obviously this happens in the work world, and these things happen, you just need to move on from it. But unfortunately in this situation, it was one that as a team we weren't able to move on from. It created some serious conflicts because there's some very, very differing opinions, and yeah, I think the personalities were too strong to kind of come to an agreement. The management team at work knew about the issue. They were involved in some of the calls and heard some of the heard the issues, but didn't step in. I think they just expected us to resolve it ourselves and move on. But yeah, like I said, it just wasn't happening, and it created such a toxic atmosphere. And it's a shame because in the project in total, across the board, there's, I would say, like probably 15 to 20 pretty active participants, and there was two people that managed to have like a really negative impact on the rest of the team. And yeah, I think it's one of those things as a company, it's like, well, financially it's quite a big investment, everyone's professional, so they expect you to get on with things and get things done. But it just wasn't happening, and there was just no reasoning with people, so it just snowballed and became worse and worse and worse as the pressure of the project grew. So yeah, that initially happened sort of, let's say, 1st of March. Gets around to sort of June time, and that effect is just kind of compounding and compounding. I'm feeling more and more frustrated, and I think anyone that's been in that situation, like as your frustration grows, your output kind of decreases. You're feeling like, not happy to go to work. You don't really want to join the calls because you're just like, that you potentially don't agree with what's happening. And yeah, very, very frustrating. So in June, I spoke with my manager, who was aware of the situation, and she was very supportive throughout the whole thing. I don't think she could have influenced anything more, and was really, really helpful. But I basically told her that, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to start looking outside, or can the company move me to a different role? So she agreed that they would start looking to move me out of this position, and that would be an issue, and it would be fine for someone else to come in and replace me. Or no, that would be the tricky part, finding someone to replace me. So of course, hearing that news, you have a spur of positivity, and you think like, okay, everything's going to be fine, a few more months, and then I'll be in a new position and everything will be good. I did start applying for jobs, but not that seriously. You open your CV and you realise you haven't updated it for 5 years, and you're like, oh crap, I've got to fill this in. But nonetheless, I did, and changed my LinkedIn a bit, just to see what would happen. Then we come around to October time, and it's like, okay, great news. We've got someone to replace you, and we've got a new role for you. Then I was super, super excited. But as the weeks went by, I was getting more sort of like negative news. And it's like, okay, so yeah, your role needs to be approved by person A. Then this person would approve. Then, oh no, now this person needs to approve. Now this person. And it continued like that up until December. And of course, by this time, it's been almost a year since I was first feeling this way back in March of 2024. So you can tell, like, I'm really like at the properly burnt out, super frustrated. We're not making any progress. No one's listening to me. Yeah, just an all-round disaster basically. And I was then told that my role would be on hold because the company was going through some reorganization and restructuring that's going to be announced in Q1 2025. So of course I'm pretty pissed at this point because I waited and waited and waited, and then you're kind of like let down. And it's one of those things like, you know, your manager helps you as much as possible and supports you, but if they're not the final decision maker, then what can you do? So I started thinking about, what do I really want? And I was so burnt out to that point, I was just like, okay, what do I do? Do I resign? Do I take medical leave? What are the options? So medical leave is obviously like not a good option. Well, it is good for some people, but you might take 2 weeks off and you come back to the same shit. So what's the point? If I resign, then I'm thinking, well, there is still potentially this talk of this other job, which I was really interested in. If I resign, I'm excluding myself from that option. So then I start sort of having a look about what other options might be available. And in my company, which is quite good, and I think most companies in the UK at least would have an option like this to take unpaid leave. So my company offers 30 days unpaid leave where you stay active in the system and you're not kind of like, you're not signing anything to say that, okay, afterwards I'm going to be terminated. It's purely just 30 days off, but unpaid. So I proposed that option to my manager. She agreed. So from like 20th of December or something, I used up my vacation to like first week of Jan. Then after that, I did a few days handover with my replacement and then started my leave of absence. I also want to think one of the driving factors of why I did that as well is because my replacement was ready since October to take the role. And I was kind of worried that if things don't happen quickly, that my replacement may no longer want the role or something could happen there. So I was like, right, get me the fuck out of this and get that person in. And they were like the ideal candidate, not really much of a handover needed. And I thought that they would have a better relationship with some of the members of the project team than I was having. So yeah, started my leave of absence on, let's just say 15th of Jan for argument's sake, and it was 30 days. So let's just say 15th of Feb. I know that's not 30 days, but I can't remember exactly what it was. And to be honest, the first week was strange because I think like since maybe 16 is the like, you know, first time I've not had like active employment or whatever. So it's weird, right? I'm 34 now. So it's a long time to suddenly be free. And my head was churning quite a lot of like, oh shit, what's going to happen? What should I do? Was this the right idea? You know, it was like a good position, well paid, blah, blah, blah. And I sort of spent the first week just got in front of the TV, flicking through LinkedIn, applying for jobs here and there. But my mind was probably primarily occupied with the work situation. So then after week one, I decided, no, I need to stop that and change that completely. And the first thing is switching off the TV. So you can't be off work and watching TV or playing PlayStation. It's such a bad habit to fall into, and it's so like kind of addictive that everyone can fall trapped to it, and then you spend your days doing nothing. So I made sure that I was going to the gym, I was just cleaning the house, I was doing the washing, and then I was applying jobs with more purpose. So, you know, like actually updating my CV and a cover letter designed for that role rather than just sending out generic shit. And then in the third week, you know, I started to notice I wasn't really thinking about work so much, and I was a bit more focused on my diet, my workout routine, making sure that, you know, we had meals prepped for, you know, my partner and my son who's 2, spending more time with my son because I was obviously off So there's a couple of days we went and did things, which was nice. And then in week 4, I'm not obviously forgotten about work, but was completely just like realizing that actually that's not important. What's important is how you feel and if you're happy with what you're doing. And I think over a year of like getting more and more frustrated and burnt out, it had gotten to the point of like, I couldn't have continued like that because I would have become ill. So I needed to take control of the situation and put it in my hands. And that's exactly what I did. And it wasn't, I mean, the sort of transformative effect over those 30 days has been quite kind of remarkable, to use that word, because I just feel so like clear-minded in myself. I started the keto diet because I wanted to get into better shape. I've been cooking and eating that way for the last 3 weeks now. Really going really well. I haven't drank since December. I haven't missed a gym session. I've been running. I started journaling. And I started obviously this YouTube channel, which was primarily for the keto diet, but, not working gave me the time to think about doing this. And, you could ask my partner, I'm one of the people that was probably least likely in the world to do this. But yeah, I just think that having the time off from work and thinking and constantly being in this toxic environment of thinking like, oh, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit, it's allowed me to think of so many different ways to be productive and so many different ideas. It's actually been amazing. And I would strongly recommend that if you are feeling that way and if you have at your work an opportunity to take an unpaid leave, you should do it. Now, I know that it's a tough decision to make and it's not one to be taken lightly. So there's a few things that I would also say you have to consider. One is obviously finances. Financially, can you take time off work unpaid? So the way things worked out with me is because I was off from mid-Jan to mid-Feb, I knew that January I'd receive half the salary and that coming back mid-Feb, even if eventually they were going to make me redundant, that wouldn't happen instantly. So I'll receive half of my salary in February as well. And that was enough to kind of cover, with my partner's salary, nursery, bills and food, right? So you need to make sure financially you can afford to do that. We also have a 6-month emergency fund, which I'll credit to, again, my partner. She is very financially savvy. And this is something we did a long time ago. Again, lucky enough to be in that position, we were able to, but we work hard and we save sensibly in a hard manner to ensure we have this 6-month emergency fund. So if we do need to take time off or if we are made redundant, we can go 6 months and still cover all of our expenses. So yeah, number one, make sure financially you can take the time off, because otherwise I think if you're feeling burnt out, being in a bad financial position is not going to help at all. Number two, I guess, would be to make sure you obviously have a supportive family and partner. It shouldn't be something you do in secret. I mean, me and my partner, we work in the same outside working space, and she could hear how frustrated I was with the situation and how burnt out I was. And it's something we spoke about in depth, and she was completely happy with the decision for me to take the unpaid leave. Again, because we've done the financial planning, it makes it an easy decision to take in that sense, because we're not really losing out. And then the third thing, which is also very important, is that you need to be confident or comfortable that you're willing to lose your job at the end of it. So obviously in my situation, I knew that there was a role that was potentially coming, but there was no guarantees. And in fact, it's still not guaranteed. I am back at work doing some tasks whilst waiting for this approval to happen, because the restructuring's only just been announced. So things are sort of flowing slowly. It seems positive, but it seemed positive last year. So someone could still reject it. But in my mind, I was so burnt out that I just couldn't stay in that role. And I knew the only option was to take the time off. And if it meant that they were going to offer me a redundancy package at the end of it, so be it. I would have had to take it, because, yeah, I was really mentally kind of exhausted and burnt out. So, yeah, what I want to summarize by saying basically is, if you have the opportunity to take 30 days unpaid leave and you can afford it, you're supported to do it, and you're comfortable to potentially not have a job at the end of it, and it's affecting your health, your mental health or physical health, do it. Because I have changed so much how I'm thinking about work, my life, being productive in general is being like amazing. I would never attribute, it's amazing to attribute it to taking time off work, and 30 days in the grand scheme of things of your life is nothing, right? If you just average 30 days for every month in the year, that's one block out of 12. Times that by your 40 years working, that's going to be what, 4,800 blocks, and you're taking one for personal time that you need to recover. Do it. I'm not saying obviously do it yearly, but if you're really feeling burnt out and tired, do it if you can. And again, going back to what I've been able to achieve in the last few weeks with the keto diet, the journaling, and the YouTube is something that I would be the least likely person in the world to do that. And I'm pretty sure my partner would agree. But yeah, it's been really, I think, transformative for me. I think the definite no drinking helps, clear your mind. Definitely you can't sit there playing PlayStation and watching Netflix all day, because that would just rot your brain and not make you productive. And it will really open up a different mindset to you. Also, in terms of job hunting, again, I don't know if it's just what goes around comes around. To start with, I was feeling a bit like, oh shit, am I going to get a job? But the last few weeks, I've been almost every other day having someone reach out for a call, or replying positively to an application to schedule calls. So I really feel that once you get out of that initial week of feeling a bit worried and a bit scared, and just owning the situation and taking control of it, things will start working out and looking up for you. So yeah, it's been a great experience. I hope you enjoyed how I've spoke about it. If you have any questions or are considering doing it, please put them in the comments and I'll reply. I'm probably going to start do some more content like this, especially if my new role gets confirmed. I might talk as well about how we finance our lives to ensure that we do have this emergency fund, and what that enables us to do. I will also still be posting the training side of things primarily, but I just thought this was kind of an interesting video and an interesting update to share of what my experience was with taking 30 days unpaid leave. Thanks for watching. Bye.